Hello, and thank you for joining us for our annual Memorial Day ceremony. We chose to make this year's ceremony another virtual experience, and while it was a difficult decision, it was made out of abundance of caution and consideration of planning time requirements. Memorial Day is about honoring the servicemen and women who lost their lives fighting for our country. It's a day when we come together, pay our respects, and give thanks to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. As we take the time each year to recognize important milestones or anniversaries, this year we are proud to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the Jewish War Veterans Organization. We are also reflecting on the 30th anniversary of Operation Desert Storm. Thank you again for joining us as we continue this important community tradition.
Memorial Day is a solemn day of remembrance, but at each town council meeting, we begin after the Pledge of Allegiance recognizing those in our armed services, particularly those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our nation and their families. So let us redouble our efforts to remember each and every day those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. It is now my honor to introduce the Cherry Hill Police Department Honor Guard to kick off today's event.
Ready, peace, present, arch.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you to our Honor Guard and to Boy Scout Troop 166 who led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and to Stephanie Heath from the Family Church for her beautiful rendition of our national anthem. The Mayor and Town Council also wish to recognize the brave men and women of the Cherry Hill Police Department, led by Chief Bud Monahan, and our Fire Department, led by Chief Chris Callan. We know how critical our first responders are to the safety of our community, and we thank each and every one of them.
Together, we must continue to honor our fallen. not just today, but every day, for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. We cherish and celebrate their memory and will remember their heroic and courageous actions. Memorial Day is a somber reminder to all of us that sacrifices made across the globe in the name of our nation are felt here in our hearts. Over the past few years, we have given special recognition to 5 of our own community members who lost their lives in service to our country. Lieutenant Colonel John Spar, Captain Gregory DeLessio, Lance Corporal Jeremy Kane, Sailor Kenneth Smith, and Corporal Jonathan G. Cohen.
The Jewish War Veterans of the United States of America, JWV, celebrates its 125th anniversary in 2021. JWV started with a group of 63 Jewish Civil War veterans in New York City on March 21st in 1896 to fight the lies that Jewish people did not fight in the U.S. Civil War. These Civil War veterans formed an organization that was originally called the Hebrew Union Veterans Association. Since 1896, the JWV has played a major role in national and international events that supports all U.S. military and veterans. In addition, our organization has been at the forefront in supporting the Israel Defense Forces and fighting against anti-Semitism in the U.S. military. JWV was an organizer for the first boycott against Nazi Germany, which took place in New York City during 1933, and continuously led the Jewish communities across the United States in directly confronting the Axis group support groups in the U.S. throughout the 1930s and early 1940s. The JWV raised more than $250 million to support the U.S. war efforts during World War II between 1941 and 1945. Millions of Jewish men and women have served in the U.S. military since before 1776. There were over 550,000 Jewish men and women who put on the U.S. military uniform during World War II. The Jewish community continues to be well represented in the U.S. military. The Jewish War Veterans has been a national organization since 1896. We have been the single largest voice of American Jewish veterans on all issues related to military and veterans benefits, foreign policy, and national security since our founding. JWV was one of the first U.S. Jewish organizations to advocate for recognition of the State of Israel and is continuously advocating for support of Israel in the U.S. Congress and with local state legislative representatives. Since its inception, the Jewish War Veterans has fought against anti-Semitism in the U.S. military and throughout U.S. communities. Additionally, JWV commits itself to the assistance of oppressed Jews worldwide. JWV has been selected to host this year's Veteran Day ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery on November 11, 2021. And because of our support for all military and veterans within the U.S. veterans community, we are a charter member of the Military Coalition. The Jewish War Veterans is an international organization with posts in every large United States Jewish community and in Israel. We will continue to serve all U.S. military and veterans as the oldest, continuously active veterans service organization in the United States of America.
Today we celebrate Memorial Day. It has me thinking about how so many Americans have forgotten the true meaning of the holiday that we as veterans hold so close to our hearts. Across the nation, graves of Americans' fallen heroes are increasingly ignored and neglected. Most people no longer remember the proper flag etiquette for the day. Many towns and cities haven't had a parade or memorial in decades. As proud veterans and American Legion members, we know Memorial Day was created to honor those who paid the ultimate price to ensure our freedom. It's America's chance to say thank you and honor them for their bravery. Help us remind Americans what Memorial Day really means. Congratulations to our comrades from the Jewish War veterans as they celebrate their 125th year anniversary. We're reminded of many of those comrades from the Jewish War veterans who also belong to our American Legion. Some of you here will remember Colonel Ray Rubel, who was very active in our American Legion and contributed in countless ways. He is one of several that we interviewed for Veterans History Project. We encourage everyone to visit our website, alch372.com, to watch their interviews. We remember them today and thank them for their service. This year also ranks the 30th anniversary of Desert Storm Operation, also known as the Gulf War, which began January 17, 1991, after Iraq forces had invaded Kuwait and refused to withdraw. Members from all 5 military branches joined a coalition to push Saddam Hussein's forces out. All veterans who served on active military service for any period from August 2, 1990 to the present are considered Gulf War veterans. Before the invasion, 35 countries quickly entered a non-binding alliance against Iraq. The coalition of the willing included NATO allies, several Arab nations, and the former Cold War adversaries, including the Soviet Union. From start to finish, Desert Storm lasted 43 days from January 17th to February 28, 1991. The coalition unleashed a 6-week air campaign, followed by 4 days of ground combat, which drove the last Iraq invaders from Kuwait on February 28, 1991. The land campaign, formerly known as the 100-Day Ground War. This engagement was the first time Americans watched from home, thousands of miles away in nearly real time, on the emerging 24-hour cable news network. Most of the country was glued to their TVs watching as reporters spoke from Baghdad rooftops describing an eerie silent capital just before Patriot and Scud missiles would light up the night sky. In the days that followed the initial land campaign, audiences saw the televised destruction of Iraq along with video from Army Generals Norman Schwarzkopf and Colin Powell, surrounded by the troops in the desert. America watched its men and women on the front lines, in the chow halls, and standing victoriously in the group photos, sometimes under Iraqi landmarks and Saddam Hussein memorials. We're all devastated when it was reported that Cherry Hill native U.S. Navy Lieutenant Jeffrey Zahn had been captured and became a prisoner of war. He was a navigator on an American warplane that was shot down over Iraq in the early days of the Persian Gulf War. Zahn's squadron took part in the first wave of coalition airstrikes. On January 18th, Zahn flew in the backseat of an A-6E piloted by Lieutenant Robert Wenzel. Their mission was to bomb an H-3 airfield in southwestern Iraq. But their plane was hit by anti-aircraft fire and they were forced to eject over the desert. Zahn was captured by Iraqi forces and transported to Baghdad as a prisoner of war. Fortunately, on March 4th, 1991, he was released and Cherry Hill welcomed him home with a parade. In total, the U.S. had 219 casualties, 154 were killed in battle, 65 died from non-battle causes, 35 of the battle deaths were resulted from friendly fire.
For every service member that lost their life in defense of our country, a family is left behind with an unimaginable emptiness. Today, we are also reminded to recognize the sacrifices their family made and assure them that their loved one's selflessness and memory will not be forgotten.
It is important that we remember not just on this one day, but every day, that we owe our freedom and liberty to the brave men and women who have set their own well-being aside for a greater good. This year,
Colonel Nelson Melitz will offer a very special tribute.
I have the privilege, the honor, for the Cherry Hill Memorial Ceremony to literally read the poem that has been created by the American Legion, the Jewish War veterans, veterans of foreign wars, to honor the families and the individuals that are missing in action, prisoners of war. Those who have served and those currently serving in the uniformed services of the United States of America are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace always has been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, and internment. As we continue our activities today, we will pause to remember our prisoners of war and those missing in action. We call your attention to a small table which occupies a place of dignity and honor near this podium. It is set for one, symbolizing the fact that our armed forces personnel are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs and MIAs. We call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families today. So we join together to pay a tribute to them and to bear witness to their continuing absence. The table is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner, alone against his or her oppressors. Remember. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. Remember. The single rose in the vase signifies the blood they may have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. Remember. The rose also reminds us of our missing comrades' families and friends who keep the faith while awaiting their return. Remember. The red ribbon on the vase represents the red ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands who demand, with unyielding determination, a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us today. Remember. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of the bitter fate that our comrades may be experiencing. Remember. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait the return of their loved ones. Remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast us at this time. Remember. The chair is empty. They are not here. Remember. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to the open arms of a grateful nation. Remember. The American flag reminds us of the many of them that will never return and have paid the supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom. Remember. Let us pray to the Supreme Commander that all of our comrades will soon be back within our ranks. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. God bless the United States of America. Remember, remember, remember.
While Memorial Day is a time to remember those who never made it home, it's important to take a moment to recognize our United States veterans. Those who join the military understand that they may, at any time, be required to lay down their life. And yet, men and women from every corner of our nation, every walk of life, continue to serve with honor, dignity, and pride. We thank you for your service.
On this Memorial Day, we pay solemn tribute to the fallen, but let us also remember and celebrate their lives and the spirit with which they served. Their legacies will carry on for as long as we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. We are forever grateful. Now we will hear the names of the veterans who passed this year from American Legion Post 372 and Jewish War Veterans Post 126.
Our American Legion has lost 12 of our veterans this year. We grieve alongside their families. Stephen Anderson, Vincent Capo, John Christ, George Evans, William Foster, Thomas Isaias, Charles Martin, Joan Moxley, Anthony Natal, sorry about that, Victor Petty John, Miguel Salvella, Michael Watson. Rest in peace. May God bless our troops and God bless America.
The following members of Jewish War Veterans Post 126 have passed away during the last year. Arrow, Dr. Beryl. Cone, Bernard. Davis, Dr. Stephen. Diamond, Joseph. Falk, Lawrence. Vogel, Cyrus. Grossman, Aaron. Horowitz, Irwin. Jacobson, Herbert. Lemberg, Lawrence. Miller, Myron. Morse, David. Pack, Manny. Saddleoff, Miller. Sandler, Milton. Saritsky, Morton. And Taylor, Brigadier General Preston, retired. Katz, Herbert. Kaufman, Lawrence.
Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire.
On Memorial Day, the flag is lowered at sunrise to honor the brave men and women who gave their lives defending our country. Now that it is noon, the flag is raised to full staff to honor the living veterans and current servicemen and women.
Order! Arms! Ready! Peace! Forward! March! Stand.
Thank you all for taking part in our virtual Memorial Day ceremony. Let us remember all U.S. military service members who are serving in harm's way both today and throughout the year.